the Know Your Gear podcast. The Know Your Gear podcast is brought to you by Patreon members, channel members, and viewers who like and subscribe. Thank you for making this possible.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Know Your Gear podcast. What are we at? Episode 436. Welcome to episode 436. We're going to have some fun today. Oh, you probably didn't even move that. I almost let a secret out. Okay, so anyways, I hope everybody's having a good October 31st and is ready for some guitar talk. We have a lot to talk about today. And what else? There's a couple things. Obviously, they want to thank the moderators who have the blue sign-ons. The panel members have the green sign-ons, the patrons who support the channel for 436 episodes. We have a lot to cover, and it is Halloween, so I'm sure some of you guys would like to get out there and give away your money in the form of free treats for people you don't know. Anyways, I don't know why I laughed at that. It's not that funny. Okay, so let's, what do we got? We got Guitar of the Week. We got cool stuff. But we got to jump into the biggest topic first. What's the biggest topic? Let's pull this up. Give me a second if you don't mind. And the first one is this one. Let's go here. All right there. Okay. So what do we got? We have Rest in Peace, G&L Guitars. So if you haven't heard, some more information has come out about G&L Guitars, and they are officially, as we know them, they're over. It's over. Now, does that mean they're gone? It doesn't mean they're gone. It just means as we know them, they're over. And as we know them means a lot of things. So let's talk about what we do know and then do some kind of like water cooler talk about what happened and why. So first of all, let's talk about who bought them. So they were sold, okay? They were sold to Fender Musical Instrument Corporation. So that's who bought them. If you have been to their factory facility, you will now see that it is empty. It was cleaned out. They cleaned everything out or threw a bunch of stuff away. Actually, it was a combination of both, throwing stuff away and cleaning stuff out. The other thing that we do know, or that you'll know now when we go here, is that we can see here, if you're looking at this paperwork right here, this is a trademark paperwork. So Fender Guitars has filed for the trademark of Leo Fender, his namesake, the name Leo Fender. So that's the Leo Fender mark. That is the thing that G&L owned that Fender did not. G&L had Leo Fender's name and I believe likeness, but at the very least it had its name. And so essentially, obviously, Fender filing for that means that they plan to use that. There's a lot of speculation, as there will be, and I'm sure most of it's going to be accurate. You know, Fender is not known for taking a brand that is competitive to their normal products and doing well with it. So obviously they bought, Jackson Charvel and they've done well, but see, Fender didn't have anything to compete with Jackson Charvel. Their 80s era Strats, even the heavy metal Strats, which are now high collectible and loved, they just weren't popular. In fact, Fender has never been able to make the mainstream metal genre guitars. Of course, we're not going to say that people don't use them. Obviously, Mick Mars uses them, right? Jim Root used them. I mean, people have used Fender guitars in metal, but you know what I'm saying. And so Jackson Charvel, to me, does not compete with the Fender product line. And so that's why it gets a stay. Gretsch is the same thing. Gretsch, even though they don't own Gretsch, they distribute and sell Gretsch and market Gretsch. But it doesn't matter because what's important is Gretsch isn't really a competing product. You can walk into a dealer or go to somebody like Sweetwater and say, here's your Fender Strats and your TELEs, and also there's Gretsch's, and also there's Charvels, and also there's Jacksons. There's more products. But let's talk about where Fender didn't continue the line of guitars, because believe it or not, they own product lines that they've sold off. So, for a moment, they owned Ovation. They don't own that anymore. For a moment, they own Guild. They don't own that anymore. There are brands, for a moment, they own Gens. They don't own that anymore. But then there are brands that they owned and they still own, but do not service, I guess is what you call it. We're going to say shelved them. So let's look at them. Now, one of them is not really a real brand that they, you'll see what I'm saying in a second. Let me just show you this. I thought it'd be fun. Okay, so SWR amps. SWR amps is still owned by Fender as far as I know, and they shelved that brand. Why? Because SWR amps, which is Stephen W. Raby's old company, is a great bass amp company, but does it really need to exist in the Fender ethos? Fender bass amps are the best-selling bass amps in the world. Sun amps. Now, I know some of you are going to say they brought Sun back. Kinda. Did they? Kinda. Did they? Right. I put Sun in the same category as I do like with Music Man amps, where they are really good amps. They just didn't make the huge mainstream for a long time. At one point, they were way more popular than they are now. But Sun amps, to me, it's a product line, again, they're not really pushing. Tacoma guitars, we already know they shelved that brand. It's all out. It's gone because they don't need it. They have Fender acoustics, and in the grand scheme of things, Fender acoustics outsell Tacoma acoustics. DeArmond is another brand that you just don't see anymore. Hartfield was a brand. I don't think they own the brand. It's just that it was on there because I actually had this done by, I asked ChatGPT, I go, hey, give me some brands that Fender owned and killed. I like how it added the GNL. So anyways, it's kind of funny. So this is where we're going to be talking about what's going to happen. So a lot of people believe that now that Fender owns GNL, what they'll do with the property is they'll use some of the assets. For example, is maybe some of the vintage machinery. Maybe they'll use that for some custom shop work or something. Do limited runs of custom shop instruments. Maybe GNLs. They also might, obviously, they're going to use Leo Fender's name and likeness. That's definitely what they want to add to their because it's part of their history and something they were denied or not able to use. But what I don't think is going to happen, I don't think they're going to continue the tribute line of GNL. I can't imagine that. A lot of people do. A lot of people think that they're going to basically take the GNL line and slap it on Indonesian guitars. Here's my problem with that. There might be an appeal to that. In fact, there might be a way that they can use that as a slide in between the Fender line and the Squire line. It's all possible. Everything's possible. The real problem is really that Fender's brand and Squire's brand is so much stronger than GNL in every way. And this is why I said, it's kind of like the death of GNL. Everything that I thought that made GNL cool, which was not a lot of things. Okay, let's be fair. GNL's mostly their coolest things were how unique they are. The fact that they were made kind of the same way. The fact that it was a small shop and they were made in small batches. The fact that they did cool finishes and lots of them. The fact that they did lots of variations of those products. In other words, you could get a different radius fretboard or a different type of fretboard or different things. And so essentially it was a plug and play. You could do a lot of stuff. All of those things, I believe they are gone forever. You'll never see those things ever come back. And if they do, they sure ain't going to be at those really affordable prices that GNL had. And so like I said, as far as I know, I can't imagine GNL existing in any frame in any way that it's existed in the past. It'll be something different. Now, so Fender is weird as a company, and that's why I'm still a Fender fan for a lot of reasons, because they do every once in a while pull, They go left when you think you're going right, they zig and the zag, and they do something cool, and they might pull something cool out of this and do something cool, but I just can't imagine. The cool thing about GNL was it's kind of like the secret guitar that some players knew about, that you could get a really good deal on a really high quality guitar, and I think that part of it's gone. Unforgivably says, so a Charvel Rampage, sadly enough, you kind of think about the Rampage. I just did a video of the Rampage. The Rampage is a great guitar, obviously, but again, we're talking about big numbers. I just don't know if it has big numbers. So we'll see what Fender does with it. Time will tell, but it is official. It is dissolved. The building is empty. So the building is empty. The corporation, the corporation who owned GNL, which was BBE Sound, is dissolved. They've dissolved their company, so there's no merger. In other words, what I'm trying to say, and everything else after that's kind of speculation. And the reason I thought I'd even talk about it is, one, it's an update, so let's talk about the update. But the second thing is, this is where it gets a little scary on Halloween. It can get scary because you may not hear anything. We may never hear anything ever again. It is in the realm of possibility that Fender will just never acknowledge that they even own any part of that GNL anything. And again, they might not even have acquired. Think about this: they can cherry pick out the things they want. So they acquire like Leo Fender's name and likeness, and maybe some other some patents, if there is such a thing left within their company. Like I said, Fender can take a couple of the few things they want, and then the rest can just be sold off to somebody else, and then who knows what happens. Or, like I said, shelve it out entirely. And that's the question. The real problem right now is the market is not booming for guitars. So I can't imagine a company, even Fender, wanting to go and push out a new line of instruments right in the middle of this. But again, we could be totally wrong. Again, we're just speculating. So we don't have their money, their power, their marketing. Fender can put a lot of muscle behind GNL and all of a sudden put GNL on the map. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm really curious. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Like I said, and let me know if you think this is the end of GNL. I kind of think it's the end of GNL as we know it. We'll never see it again. And then Lee says, hey, BBE, what about the Sonic Stomp pedal? That BBE is gone. As far as I know, that's all gone. So you won't see any more of the BBE stuff anymore. So now when I say that, keep in mind, as it exists in the way it existed, let's say, just a couple months ago. And a lot of people talked about GNL and talked about what brought GNL down. I've worked with GNL since 2017, okay? I know as much as probably anyone who worked with them. I've heard a lot of people say that they kind of know the secret, what happened. And I can tell you that I'm sure there's some truth in everything everyone says, just like there's going to be some truth in things I'm going to say to you right now. Anyone who worked with them could tell you a couple things. They were very passionate about Leo Fender. They were very passionate about guitars. I thought as a company, they always were passionate about guitars. I was never overly impressed with their business prowess at any given time. And that sounds like an insult, and I don't want to insult them because I think I like them, so But I will tell you that I really felt like, and I feel this way about a couple other companies too, and a couple companies that are also now gone out of business, they just weren't connecting with the time now, much less 2025. They weren't connecting with, getting them up to 2025 would have been great. They weren't up to 2010. And in their defense, which I will tell you, one of the owners did reach out to me. So, earlier this year, I believe, late last year, somewhere on there, we spent hours on the phone talking about strategies for new marketing. And they started to actually try some of the new ideas. But you can understand, it was already kind of too late. There was a lot of things happening in the background. It was just a lot of things that happen in a small business like that. They start running out of money. They start, which is always a really huge problem. You need cash to run a business or credit. And usually if you're out of cash, you've exhausted credit and so on and so on. So Michael Nelson says, hey, where does the old inventory of GNL guitars go? I don't know. To the Gibson tractor, he says, I don't know. Because again, there's no real disclosure, as there wouldn't be, right? Everybody's kind of picked up pieces, just like what I got now. I obviously, like, hey, we have people reporting that they, were paid out by Fender. We have people reporting that, obviously, like what I just showed you and other people showed you, that, Fender's filing trademarks for Leo Fender's name, which was definitely a GNL property. GNL is dissolving their LLC or their business. That seems right. So, or the company that was called, the parent company GNL. So there's things going on there that you're like, okay, this happened, but the small details, I don't know. Who knows? It's really interesting because we've seen what happens, right? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. What I was gonna say was, it's kind of like remember when Gibson moved facilities and then just started having people step on their ES335 guitars. Does anyone remember that? Talk about bringing up something horrible. Everybody kind of remembers when Gibson ran over their guitars with a tractor. That was pretty bad. But I think the worst thing I ever saw, and you can find it on YouTube if you want to watch it. I don't recommend it. It is Halloween though, if you want to scare yourself. Was they were just taking Gibson ES335s, and one of the employees was putting them against the wall like 1x2s and just snapping them like a karate kick. And they were throwing them in the dumpsters. And then if you recall, I think FedEx bought the old Gibson building, and FedEx was on the news because they found all this memorabilia like BB King and all this important like history of Gibson that Gibson had just left to throw in the dumpsters. And FedEx was like, They called Gibson, and Gibson's like, we don't want it. So FedEx gave it to a museum. It's a true story. You can look that up too. That's an article too. So what I'm trying to say is you got to understand, a lot of people, you and I, and the things that I've learned in this industry was, I thought, because I did it as someone who's like, I love guitar and I loved the music industry, and I just want to be a part of it any way I can. Hey, if I could own a store, if I could make a guitar, if I could fix a guitar, if I could, help work in marketing, if I could be a YouTuber, whatever it is that gets me somewhere close to the world of things that I love. If I could just do that with some piece of my life, I feel like I would be just so happy. That's great, but a lot of people in this industry, they're not into music or guitars or anything. They just do a job. A lot of people are surprised when most factory workers don't play guitar, because to them, they're like, no, they just were looking for a job one day and it said hiring to sand. And they're like, okay, I can sand. And people in marketing are like, hey, I used to sell Monster Energy drinks. I can sell Strats. So, I once was at a NAMM show and I was picking out stuff for the store, and this guy next to me was a buyer for Guitar Center, and we were talking, and I can't remember. I thought it was Coca-Cola. I would have swore he said he used to work at Coca-Cola, but I could be wrong. But he was telling me basically he had reports. He had like paperwork that was telling him what to order. He didn't know what the hell he was looking at. He just knew how to read reports. Oh, those are good. And what happened was, how I even knew him and even got into this was, I was picking some stuff, and a couple other dealers were too. And he was like asking us questions like, why are you getting those? And flipping his sheets going, we didn't even sell like a lot of those. And we're like, they're cool, man. They're new. And that's when I was like realizing like, oh my God, he doesn't know anything that's new, because he only knows what the report tells him to buy. And then again, it was like, there's tons of things like that you find out in these industries where it's like, yeah, some people are in it because it's a job. Some people are in it because it's money. And so like I said, so that's my way, Michael, of telling you that some people will just take some of those, like who wouldn't kill right now for a GNL half-finished necker body from that factory just to have a piece of that history. And deep down it was probably thrown in a chipper. It's like, by the way, when I laugh, it's always just because I'm like, I'm just so, you're like, what the hell? Nathan's saying the production manager at PRS came from Black & Decker. And he goes, I don't think he plays at all. Yeah. And then think about this. We're talking about the king of doesn't play guitars, Leo Fender. Never played guitar his whole life. So, that's the argument. Do you need to? Do you need to play guitars, to build guitars? Apparently not. By the way, Leo Fender's not the only one. There are multiple people in the industry. The owner of Warwick does not play bass or guitar. Think of that. So when you covet one of those $5,000 Warwicks, just realize the person who started it all and built them doesn't even play bass. So think about that. He just knew how to build you a bass. And I guess I guess if you think about it, and I just did now, I really think about when I see Paul Reed Smith playing guitar in his band and stuff, and he's playing on stage, and I see sometimes the owner of companies playing guitar, and I go, I don't want to see them play guitar. I don't care. I want them to build guitars. I really don't care if Paul Reed Smith, I'm just picking him because he's easy. I don't care if he can play guitar well. I care if he can build a guitar well. So I guess that's what I think about that stuff. So maybe it doesn't matter if they play guitar, but it is a sad tragedy. Let's see. Oh yeah, Nathan said Ted McCarty also didn't play. Yeah, he heard. That's what I heard too. I heard he did not play as well. So it's interesting. So anyway, so that's the way we're going to cap it up. We're going to say rest in peace, GNL guitars as we know it. Now, this is the unfun talk, but it's important to talk about because I know it's going to come up in the comments later, which is some people are going to ask me, I just know it, like, should you buy a GNL? Is it a good, right before it's too late? I would say this. If you love GNL guitars and you were going to buy a GNL guitar anyways, I would buy a GNL guitar. Especially a USA one, right? Especially something that has some memory. Not because it's an investment, not because here's why. These things go 50-50 on you all the time. All the old GNLs could be worth nothing because it depends on what happens with them in the future. As people don't talk about them, remember, GNL can just fade away into the ether. We'll just never hear them again. In 2 years, we'll have 100 new podcasts of this show, and maybe we'll never talk about G&L again. And think about that. That eventually wears on you. And then also the other thing that happens is Fender could just do the opposite of what we think. They could release G&L again, better than ever, in a small shop. And I mean, because like I said, I told you Fender is known for doing that. They go, sometimes, like I said, they pivot in a different way. So anyways, so my point is, all of that, I would not, buy low, sell high. Don't worry about that. What I will tell you, though, is if you want to own a guitar, a G&L guitar, I would say this. As the news comes out about G&L closing, some people are going to get a little nostalgic. It's going to happen. It's just like when an artist dies and their signature guitars go up in sales for the next couple of weeks. Some people are going to try to cash in, kind of like buy them like, oh, these are going to go up in value. So there's going to be that stuff. So I'm talking to the honest people out there who just honestly love G&L, and and maybe they want to add another one to their corral of guitars, or they want to get their first one. I would go out there and consider it, and I think you could probably get deals. In other words, the market's still soft. Keep that in mind. If you reach out to somebody who's got a G&L, maybe they're willing to part with it for a good price, like a store or something. And then like I said, I think there'll be a small boom in it because there always is. But then I think it'll deflate a little bit. But again, I don't want to talk about the whole buy low, sell high thing. That stuff is boring. But the main thing I only want to talk about is just you protecting you guys from doing dumb things with your money. I think it's a good time to buy a G&L if you wanted one. I don't see a downside to getting one of those guitars. They're great. If you guys saw, I did the Rampage video, and it had a few flaws here and there. I fixed them, and now we know, that it was at the end of the line for that stuff. So, like I said, stuff like that happened. But overall, I've been always impressed with my G&L guitars. What's this? Happy Good Thing says, hey, how's your foot? It's fine. Right now it's in a boot, so I can walk up here. I walked up here because I didn't want to scoot around. So I still use a scooter for distances, obviously, because it's only been 2 weeks. But it's healing fine. Swelling's down a lot. Still swollen, but way down a lot. So for those, thank you for asking. Sprained my ankle 2 weeks ago, and yeah. So and I have a brace, and then I switch between a brace and this boot. Depends if I need to move around. So that's really nice. Chris says, hey, maybe Fender will make a Cantrell Rampage, and that's it. It's possible. It's really, anything's possible. You know what's weird is, what's weird about this is, because of the timing, I believe Jerry Cantrell just left Friedman for Bogner, I think, right? I don't know if that's true. I think it's true. I think I heard that. Who would be great for making a new Rampage would be Friedman. Have Friedman guitars build him a Rampage. That'd be really cool. Those are very good, cool guitars. But okay, because I don't want to wait anymore. I want to do Guitar of the Week.
Now it's time for Guitar of the Week.
Guitar of the Week, as I promised last week, is special. It's special guitar. Let me first do this. Let me pull this up. Why is it special, by the way? Let's talk about it. It's actually special for two reasons. It's special because it's Halloween. Sure, I wanted to do something fun for Halloween, and I did. But that's not why it's special. Why it's special is, you know what? Okay. Why it's special is this guitar has a story. Even though this is a brand new guitar to me, it still has a great story. Let me tell you the story, and I thought it perfect on Halloween, because two things happened that were really cool this Halloween, and I'm excited about it. So let's talk about the guitar. First, the guitar is a Kiesel. It is a Firefly. Okay, now for the record, so anyone knows, this is not sponsored. I bought this guitar. Okay, so I bought this guitar from Firefly. This is a Firefly recreation of the George Lynch Bones guitar. Ooh, 3D. Let's go to the side cam on that. 3D. Whoa. So yeah, it's three-dimensionally carved out, or I don't know if it's carved, but it looks good. It feels good. The body is ash. I took the back plate off because I blocked the bridge. I'll explain why in a minute. Okay. So you have like an ash body, all satin black with the three-dimensional carve. Look at that. You can see how crazy that is. It's got one pickup that is really horrible. That's coming out. It feeds back and it sounds horrible. It's got a Floyd Rose special bridge, I think. Just a Floyd Rose cheap bridge. That's going to probably go out for the Godot. But What they did, if you haven't seen, they had a version like this before. Let's switch cameras again. And the old one, I didn't love the headstock. This one has the correct headstock, the hockey stick headstock. Okay, so it's rather heavy, so be prepared for that. This one's probably 8.5, 9 pounds, 8.5 pounds, like a gallon of milk. And it plays great. It feels good on the arm. Now, here's why I'm going to tell you. I actually had one of these, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you the cool part. This is why I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you it's not sponsored. I don't get anything if you buy one, okay? I didn't get this for free. They didn't pay me, right? This guitar has a roasted maple neck. The neck feels amazing. It's really thin. It feels like an ESP neck. It has Grover copy-style tuning keys. Of course, it's made in China. It has, like I said, the locking nut, the bridge, and this guitar shipped to my door was $296. Now, here's why it's an important story to me, or a story for Halloween. I actually had a replica of one of these, an expensive one. In fact, I might even, while we're talking, be able to find a picture. I didn't think to queue up the picture of my replica. My replica was very expensive. Now, there's a lot of drama, if you don't know, between these guitars. They were made by JFrog, then they were made by ESP. I don't want to get into that for those that know about the drama. What I do want to get into is, hold on, see, I said I'll do two things at once. Yep. Go here. We had George Lynch come and do a clinic. So George Lynch came, and mine had, it didn't have a logo put on the headstock when I had the replica made, which was really good. It was really, really carved exactly like his. And I had George Lynch sign the headstock. So mine was George Lynch's signature on the headstock. It was a black headstock, and I had him signed with like I think silver or white paint pen. And I absolutely love the guitar. I'm obviously a George Lynch fan, and the guitar was kind of iconic for this, obviously from the Dream Warriors video. And when I bought it, what happened was my daughter was extremely scared of it. Now, this is funny now because my daughter is a young adult now, or she's an adult woman, right? So she's a young adult woman. So it's kind of funny to think of that now, but my daughter was truly scared of it. And if I brought it out, I mean, it freaked her. Here it is. I found it. Look at that. I'm going to show it to you guys. Look at, you can even see, look at younger hair. This is me when I was younger and I had hair. Okay, ready? Just kidding, guys. I never had hair. So this is it. This is the original one. You can see right here. So again, you can see the detail in the bones, and there's 3. And then you can see faintly right there, if you're looking, that's George Lynch's signature. Okay. And then it was really cool. So I had this guitar. My daughter was extremely afraid of it. And I didn't know what to do, because as soon as I brought it out, she just freaked out. And then she became very aware that it was in the closet in the bedroom. I didn't have a case for it, so I just put it in a gig bag. And so what I did is I bought googly eyes, you know, those springy googly eyes, and I put googly eyes in the skull, and so it would look cuter. And she still freaked out. And so I sold it because I felt like I could never pull it out and play it. So I sold it, and of course, you know, it was the replica like that was worth good money. By the way, when George Lynch did the clinic, he wouldn't sign some of the JFrog ones, because he had issues with them in the past. But he would, you know, like I said, he signed mine, and so I kind of missed it. It was a cool guitar, but you know, and when I bought that, which was expensive at the time, they then tripled and quadrupled in price over the years. So it just, I just couldn't justify buying one again. Obviously, once my daughter was old enough, I'm like, oh, I should get another one. And I thought about boxing it up, but I don't know. I just got rid of it. So when I saw this, I thought, oh my goodness, you know, right? I got to tell you, this one's better than my old one. The roasted neck feels amazing. The frets, it says it's stainless steel frets. I got to double check that. They're not coming across to my mind as stainless steel frets, but fine. The body is so much thinner. Mine was much thicker because, like I said, everything stuck out 3-dimensionally. It was round. Like here, where it's a little like flat, mine was actually round, if you saw that. I actually prefer this. It feels way more comfortable than mine. And for $300, this is pretty cool. That's why I said I want to let you guys know if you want to go get one. This is just a replica of this guitar. This is one of those guitars that, you know, $300, you buy it, throw a better pickup in it. If you use the tremolo, it's okay. I obviously blocked it. Now, I blocked it because I had to tune this real quick because I wanted to play it for you guys. In fact, let's do that now. So as you know, I got to go to a different side camera. Okay. And what are we going to do? Let's play this thing. All right. I'm going to move my seat, slide. I have to slide because my boot doesn't work right. Go to second camera. Here we go. Continue to slide. Whee! Slide. Here we go. You can still hear me. Everything's cool. All right. Let's go ahead and play this guitar. And since it only has one pickup, I'm going to do one sound. And that sound is metal. Here we go. Okay, so switch cameras. Here we go. So somebody caught it. I dropped it to sea. So what happened was I threw some new strings on it and I dropped it to the sea, and then I was like, this is a mess to mess with setting up the tremolo right now. I didn't have time. I just didn't have time. So I was like, hey, I just thought I'd show you. Look, I use tongue depressors. Those look like popsicle sticks. They're basically tongue depressors. They work up fantastic. And when you do repairs for a living for a long time, you'll find tongue depressors are amazing for everything. Okay, and so because what happens is you can take one and break one up in a bunch of pieces like I did, and then just stick them in there, right, until you have, the bridge is blocked, and then tighten down the screws and compress it. And then what's great later, when you have time to actually cut the wood block, you pull the tongue depressors out, and they're literally, you just measure them, and that's the block. So they work great because they're thinner. A lot of people say popsicle sticks, but the tongue depressors are thinner, and you find that what happens is 4 popsicle sticks thick is too thick. 3 popsicle sticks is not thick enough. So tongue depressors is the key. So fantastic. I'd like to give a shout out if I could, which I will. Hold on a second, because I don't want to not do this right now. Is that drum track, right? The drum track you just heard was a drum track I pulled off YouTube. There's a drum backing tracks channel that I absolutely love. I think they're the best drum tracks. They're mostly metal, but they are fantastic. The channel is called Max Backing Tracks. I'll put a link to his channel. It's Max, M-A-X, Backing Track. The best, by far. The quality is so great. They're a ton of fun. I thought when I got the guitar, I was like, I want to do Guitar of the Week. And now I'm like, I got to play something for you guys. And so I just took that track, listened to it, kind of come up with some riffs that kind of laid on top of it and said, that's the track. That's a way to show off the best. I need a thumbnail, right? Like, ooh, or oh. By the way, if you ever want to know what a sad life, some YouTubers' lives are, it's this. It's hours of you in front of a camera going, A lot of this. I don't know why we're always thinking. We're just thinking. It's like YouTubers are always like, I wonder how much money I'll make on this video. Anyways, so that's my thumbnail. Scary. I'm trying to make a scary face. Oh, I want to get the pumpkin. Hold on. This is a good thumbnail. The pumpkin in the background. This, right? And then I kind of like, sometimes you got to look off like you don't care. Or sometimes you got to look at the guitar like, maybe I should do a Abbott and Costello, like a crazy, like, is that a thing? I don't know. By the way, one of my favorite movies of all time is Private Eyes with Abbott and Costello. But anyways, oh my God, it's not Abbott and Costello. Private Eyes is not Abbott and Costello. It's Don Knotts and Tim Conway. I apologize for that. But still a great movie. Okay, so that's Guitar of the Week. I will, if you guys want to check out Firefly guitars, you can check them out. Obviously, that's a great buy. That's fun. So if you ever been wanting to buy one of these, and you've seen them, I will tell you, I saw some reviews, okay? They're accurate. The reviews said that some of the things like this, it just doesn't look as cool as the real one. And like I said, having a real replica of the real one, I can tell you, I like this better. No one cares. So I like that it's thinner. I like that it's easier on my arm. I like it. I liked it better. It doesn't have great access, and anyways, so here's why the story's funny. So ironically, even though my daughter was afraid of that guitar forever, and oh my goodness, Wookalar. Thank you, Adam. That's an inside joke to the movie. It's a Wookalar. Okay, anyways, my daughter, even though she was deathly afraid of this thing, and so I got rid of it, she used to love this thing she called Snakey, which was a rubber snake, like a fat python rubber snake that we had for Halloween. We pulled out at Halloween, and she loved it. Isn't that weird? She was scared of this, but so anyways, over time, it dry rotted and cracked and broke. And so what happened was a few weeks ago, out of nowhere, my wife or I are in like a Michael's or something, and for the first time in like a decade, we saw a Snakey. And we're like, oh my goodness, there's a snake. And so we bought it for my daughter. So she got it as a gift, right? Because her birthday's in the month of Halloween. So we gave it to her. She was super excited, right? I mean, obviously she's old enough to drink now, so she's definitely not afraid of the snake. But then when I saw this, I go, oh my goodness, we're going to bring Snakey and the Bones guitar back in our lives. It's time. We've matured. We can have things again. So anyways, so that's my, Sax By says, isn't she a huge Evil Dead fan? She is a massive, huge Evil Dead fan. Oh no, like I said, you gotta understand, my daughter, little girl, right? Like when she was little, she's afraid of Mr. Scary. But now she loves horror flicks. She's the opposite person now. That's what happens as you get older. You become the opposite, I guess, of what you were, I guess. I don't know. Let's go on to the next subject. Let's back on to guitars. Otherwise, this won't be a guitar podcast, and we'll lose our funding for guitar talking. So, okay. We talked about that. Let's talk about something interesting here. Let's see. Hold on. I just want to make sure. I'm hoping I'm saying it's Yuli. Yuli, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. It says, where did you buy it? The guitar. So, interestingly enough, let me just show you this because it's really a mess. Okay, so Firefly Guitars. Ironically, if you go to Firefly Guitars website, you can't buy guitars there. So you got to buy them at this website. It's called Guitar Garden. There you go. Guitars Garden. And weirdly enough, these letters all apply different guitars. The T is for TELE, right? Strat, TELE. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's under TELEs. Because of course it is, right? Of course. When you think TELEs, the guys at G&L are guys at Firefly are hilarious, right? They're like, hey, if you want to get a TELE, here's some TELEs and this thing that's a TELE. Because they just, and you know what? Maybe they're right. Is it a TELE? Hold on to crap. I'm talking shit. And they actually, I think they're right. Look at it. It's a TELE. That's a TELE, right? I mean, if you take this off, right? It's rounded here. It sticks. This is a TELE. Who thought this was a Strat? Come on, fess up. I always thought it was like a bone, like it's a bone version of a Strat, right? George Lynch came out of the wall in the video, and this is a TELE. TELE. I think Firefly's right. It's a TELE. It's not a Strat. Yeah, this is a TELE. George Lynch was playing a TELE. Never knew it. It's the Bones TELE. Never saw that. Somebody said they heard the Firefly thing scam. There might be scams out there, Fireflies. What I can tell you is this. Here's what I can tell you. I've worked with them, so I know things about that. But let's just get back to this. I bought this guitar on this website, Guitar Garden, about a week ago. It did take forever. I saw the review. I think somebody painted one, and they were saying theirs took forever too. What does it take for? It's going to take you like 2 weeks. They're not moving. Trust me, they're not in a hurry. You're going to get your order in, and then days go by. But it's Guitar Garden. This is where you have to go. This is their website, just to make sure everyone's safe, and we're not. Whoops, hold on a second. Make sure everyone's nothing explodes. I just put the link to the website in the chat, and I will put it on the timestamp. This is the link to if you use my link to that website, it's not an affiliate link. I don't get anything, but it is the link to the website where I bought my guitar, and it did arrive. Okay, so there you go. That'll hopefully that'll help you. Like I said, it came way better than I thought. I thought for sure I was going to be doing a lot of work on this guitar. 290. It's $269, and then with tax was not tax. There's no tax. It was shipping. Mine was $296. So, Jaded Jerome says it was Guitar Max. He said that the Firefly website wasn't legit. To be careful. The Firefly website, I have no idea. Guitar's Garden. This website is where you buy Firefly guitars. It's where I've bought my Firefly guitars. And I will tell you, it's up to you guys. Do whatever you want in life. But my way of doing it is I bought my guitars there, and I use PayPal, and I've never had a problem. But that's, yeah. And Ryan says there's imposter sites. Of course, there's imposter sites for everything, man. So yes, and especially since Guitar Garden's really, really weird. But yeah, go. We're just gonna make it easy. Use that link I provided. So it's the link I just pulled from the website. So I know it was in my search history to the one where I clicked it and bought. So you won't have a concern there. And then, like I said, use some protective form like PayPal or something to protect yourself, because hey, it is crazy. Yeah. Authority on regulation says it's 300 bones for the Bones guitar. That's really funny. That's great. Okay, so we've now confirmed that the Bones guitar is a Telecaster. Somebody's gonna have to tell George Lynch, because I don't think George knows. We could probably text him right now. I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so anyways, all right, let's get on to some more guitar subjects. Let's see. We are gonna talk about what do you guys want to talk about? We need a subject. Somebody send me something. Hold on a second. And I want to just have some fun. If you're talking or sending a message, question, subject to me, put a question mark at the beginning if you want to bring up something. And I'm scrolling. I might pull from my archives. I have things. Ben Coombs asked, any idea what the bodywood is? It's ash. So Ben, I know we keep coming back to this. The body is definitely ash. That's definitely ash. That's definitely ash. However, what I don't know, and I haven't had enough time, and maybe I will do some investigating and give you updates. What I don't know is, it is very possible, so you guys know, because I've seen versions of these throughout the years. This is not carved. So they could have just cut an ash body, and then they use like basically some kind of clay or something, and then they made all this on top of it. And then they harden it, and then they paint it, so this might not be carved out of wood. My gut says it's not. right? My gut says this is some kind of clay, or some kind of material put on top of. But it could be carved because the CNC machines could have done it. I don't know. I can verify that. I actually have a way to verify that, very easy, just not right now. So if that's something that concerns you guys, maybe hold off. But I really think for $300 shipped, this guitar is worth. Look, there's better things you can just spend your $300 on for sure. You don't have to have a dumb wood skeleton guitar. But if you're, if you wanted one your whole life, this will get it out of your system for a price. I believe you'll be able to sell it for used almost the same price. So, okay, unfreaking believable. Thank you. Says to bring this up. We need to bring this up. So we have some. These are just for me. I just want to share with you guys. We hit 2 milestones. One big one this month for the channel. This is the first time since the channel started we broke 2 million views in a month. And what I mean by that is the channel this month did 2.5 billion. No, 2. Might as well pull it up. We'll look at the actual numbers right now. We're going to look up the actual numbers to say thank you because it was really crazy good. I say that and then it doesn't pull it up. Am I blocked from YouTube? I'm blocked from YouTube, guys. That's what happens when if you do well, you're gone. Okay, ready? In the month of October of 2025, for the first time ever, I've told you guys this, that, hey, look, I've had great luck here on YouTube. I've done 1 million views every month, and that's great. But for the first time ever in the history of the channel, I broke 2 million views in 1 month, 2.4 million views in the month of October. Thank you guys so much for that. It's something I actually tried to do a couple times, just once, just to be able to say, can I ever hit that level? 2 million views for the month. And I want to say thank you guys so much for that. However, that is also why Chris brought it up. We also have a second achievement that I need to thank you guys for. And I know we're not staying on subject, but there's the other achievement. Our second channel hit 579,000 views for the month, which is its record number. So I want to say thank you for that. 29,000 subscribers. We hit 29,000 yesterday. Again, thank you guys for that. With a total views of 4.6 million views, 280 videos. We started it. It says here in 2016. That's not when we started it, but that's okay. But what's important is 579,000 views. So the both channels killing it. But more importantly, I just want to super thank you for the 2 million, both, of course, but the 2 million. I mean, like I said, it was just like when I saw it, I actually thought, I saw 2 million when I was looking at stats one day, a couple days ago, and I go, 2 million? 2 million what? I was like, we never do 2 million. And K-Dub says, next month do 4 million. I'm going to be honest with you, to do 2 million again, if I do 2 million again ever, I'll be shocked if I do that ever again in 1 month. I'm okay. Trust me, I'm okay. Look, I'm okay with it. It was just nice to hit it. It felt like it, because I've tried so many times. This month I wasn't even trying. It just happened to work out that way. But I've tried so much. Jaded says, is Social Blade free? It is. There's a basic thing that you can get for free that you can look up if you want to look up stuff. And then if you want more detailed information, they charge you for it. I have never paid for Social Blade, but I have had friends that are YouTubers pay for it and tell me that it's not really worth it. So I didn't buy it myself. So fantastic. So those are 2 milestones. I want to say thank you guys for that. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's talk about Bob, the blind bedroom guitarist, who's been a commenter and watcher and viewer. I know that sounds weird because I'm saying it that way, but you understand what I'm saying, for many years. So I just want to thank you to Bob. Bob, it says, I do foresee using do you foresee using accessibility apps on touch screens for amps, etc. for the line ? I can't find any that are under market today ? So touch screen things for amps, I think that's where they want to go. Absolutely. And I don't know much about this stuff, but I would imagine touchscreen stuff has got to be horrible if you're blind because there's no tactile, there's nothing tactile for you to touch. You can't feel where the hell you are, right? You're just touching basically what probably feels like you is a piece of glass, just touching that. Definitely see that. Look, for people who are not visually impaired, it's the most practical user interface ever presented for dumbing stuff down. So obviously, you like Head Rush. I've said this before. I didn't love the way the Head Rush sounded. When I say that, I mean, it was fine, but I just thought Kemper sounded better. I just thought I liked the Axe FX better. I just thought I liked certain things better on those. Okay. But the Head Rush platform, the touch screen interface thing was so easy, right? It was so easy. And fantastic. So yeah, of course, there's a part of me that's like, I think that's kind of a thing. I saw that there's a new guitar amp that has it. Somebody's got designed, so I can see that. And I believe the Quad Cortex is a touch screen interface on the pedal unit. So of course, this is definitely something that we're going to see lots of companies integrate. One, I think it's because it's affordable for them to do so, and two, it's because user interfaces is just dumbing it down just makes sense. I think that's where you really open up, a product line is when you can make it easy for everyone. Because let's face it, most of us are dumb and we need something super, super easy, super, yeah. But that, yes. So Dan, I think that's what your question is, and if I'm answering correctly, I believe yes. I think that's the future of it. So, okay. All right. Let's talk about John. John says, hey, Phil, I ordered a fret end beveling file with a 25-degree angle on one side and a 90-degree angle on the other. In your experience, will using this before filing the fret ends save some time? I mean, it can if there's a lot of material that you got to move away from the fret ends. In my experience, usually you don't want to, like I said, sometimes, let's face it, sometimes the frets are really a mess on the ends, and you're just going to just go and take a bunch of material off real quickly. I'm always nervous to take a lot of material off of anything that's a fret. Because like I said, it's if you mess up a fret, you're going to pull a fret and then refret. So, it's not aggravation. Keep in mind, for me, when you're doing repairs for a living, it's never aggravation, right? You're there all day anyways, right? You're just working and, you're there and you're working. It's really money. It's really, everything breaks down to, oh no, if I take 4 hours on something that should have took me 30 minutes, look at how much money I lost. So, you tend to move slower because moving slower saves you money because mistakes cost you the most. So, yeah, I think you can do that. But I always tell everybody, don't worry about taking away too much material quickly. Just kind of, you could go slow with the fret end dress file if you want to and not use the fret end beveling file. It's up to you. But yeah, you can use it to round over to get a lot of the material out of the way very quickly. In fact, let me reframe my answer. I think if you're experienced, you could do it no problem. I have no problem with that. I would be a little cautious to tell you if it's your first time doing stuff, maybe practice on something you don't care about first doing that. Because again, what happens when I worry about stuff like that is, some of those files, one pass and all of a sudden that's too much and there's no takebacks. It's just, you're just done. And especially on the fret ends, let me tell you what happens when you get aggressive on your fret ends and you take too much material away from the end of the frets. You go to bend a string on the high E string and it rolls right off the side of the fretboard. And it will drive you crazy because you won't, I don't even mean like you're going crazy vibrato, you just go to touch it and it slips right off. And then once you do that, your guitar doesn't feel good and now it has to be fixed. And to fix it, you're going to pull frets and refret. Either that fret or a couple frets or all the frets. Either way, it's not a place you want to be if you can avoid to be. D. Forbes says, I ordered the fret kister after last week's show. I had it in 3 days to Canada. Yeah, you know what? What's funny was we pulled a clip of that for the second channel. You guys bought a lot. Thank you for using the link, everybody. In fact, I had some people tell me that they forgot to use the link, but they contacted Stu Mac, and Stu Mac said they'd take care of me. So, I don't know how to tell if they take care of me, but but thank you for that. Because I get 10%. So you gotta understand, you want a fret kisser? You got a fret kisser? I got $5, man. That's like that. If that doesn't sound like a big deal to you, you're good for you. Good for you. But for me, I was like $5, and then you do that multiple times, that adds up. So that's pretty cool. Very nice, in fact. So thank you guys for doing that. Not only because, like I said, that was an affiliate click. That was really cool. And then Bob said, he's following up. He said, thanks for answering my question. 2015 is when I found you. So yeah, that's right at the beginning. I started posting things in 2014 randomly. So he goes, I'm talking about screen readers to make it accessible to blind people. Oh, like TalkBack on Android. Oh, then unfortunately, I don't know. I don't really know that area that much. I think it's I'm going to say, artist with a big R. Oh, it's phonetic smart. So his sign-on is big R, TIST, artist. Says, do we get discounts when using links? You can. There's discount links, not for the Stu Mac stuff. Basically, here's what I can tell you about affiliate links. Don't ever click them. Don't go out of your way to click stuff for me. They don't usually pay me very much. Well, first of all, Stu Mac pays me the most. So that's pretty cool. They pay me the most. However, it's just not something a lot of people are going to click on. One, and two, it's not big ticket items, right? I mean, it's expensive stuff. Like I said, you spend $50, $100. I mean, that could be $5, $10, but it's not going to be huge items. So they give you the most. What I can tell you about affiliate links is, in my experience with affiliate links, is there's 100 things that's going to make an affiliate link not work. And even when you're trying to give me money on an affiliate click, it may not even happen. So, I personally use my own affiliate links to buy stuff because and I can tell you, I feel like 60% of the time they work and 40% of the time I didn't get credit. So I know something's up because I'll click the link, I'll buy something, and then I'll look in my report to see where I bought it, so where I did get my affiliate, and I didn't get an affiliate. It didn't track right. So I'm like, oh, well, so like I said, it's, but discount, we do have discount links to things, but not to Stu Mac. Not right now. Stu Mac's blowing stuff out right now, so they're not going to give us any extra discounts, I would imagine. We can always ask them, but I don't imagine. So Jaded says, don't click the links. You heard him. Yeah, Jaded. It's funny. The links, let me tell you how the links work for those. I told you guys how this works in the past. They're not specific. No links are specific. I always be very clear about this. So when you click a link, an affiliate link on anybody's link, the majority of the time, especially in my case, so let's just talk about my case, if you buy the item that you click the link for, that doesn't matter. If you buy anything, it's going to give me a percentage of something, and there's sometimes could be different percentages, and it's usually for a period of time as it's saved your cookies. So essentially how that works is, a perfect way to say it is like, let's say you click on a Sweetwater link and you look at the thing that I put the link for, but you decide not to buy that. But it saved your cookies. So let's say 5 days later, you decide to go to Sweetwater without clicking one of my links and you buy something online, it will give me credit. So it can give me credit. So there's things like that. But what you have to realize is that's important is, and this is why I remember having to tell my own relatives, they're like, my wife's parents even call us like on a Sunday afternoon, can we get one of Philip's links? We're going to buy something off Amazon. And we have to tell them like, don't worry about it. The way links work is this: you get hundreds of millions of views and you'll make some dollars. That's it. Like the amount of money I make from affiliates, and links, and I get a lot of link clicks, but so I always tell people, don't stress yourself over it. Don't worry about it. If you click a link and you want to specifically help me, that's great, but don't go out of your way. It's not worth your time, I promise you. And even in Stu Mac's case, it's what do you call it? It's worth. Thank you. That's you know what? I'll just say thank you. How about that? Thank you guys for doing it. Okay, let's talk about this. I got something cool, and I thought it'd be fun to share. So this came in the mail. Somebody who's watching right now, if you sent this to me, you know who you are. I'm going to say your name in a second. I didn't know this. This came from Mike. I'm just going to say Mike's first name. Mike sent me this really nice letter right there. And this came in the mail. I was like, what is this? And Mike sent this, which I know some of you are going to have a moment right now with, like I am. This is pretty cool. He used to work in a music store in the 80s and 90s that was a official BC Rich dealer. And he sent me this official, like a BC Rich poster. This is a BC Rich little handmade in America poster with all the specifications. Look at that, right? Straighten it out. And that's cool. But what really, some of you guys are going to have flashbacks. He sent one of these. It's a BC Rich catalog. Look at this. And I thought I'd share it with you guys real quick, a little show and tell. Look at how nice this is. I'll try to center it up. Look at how, like, remember the NJ series? So the Platinum series and the NJ series, some of these BC Riches. I remember drooling over these. Now, here's what Mike doesn't know. It's always cool. Mike, thank you for the gift. This is really cool. It's impressive. But how this happened is actually weirdly funny, how you timed this. When he sent this to me, I had just been talking about 2 weeks ago, 2 BC Rich guitars about something. And I mentioned to BC Rich that I wanted a guitar called the Outlaw. And I said it looked like a gunslinger. And they said, no, the Outlaw would have 2 pickups. And they were saying it was different. And I said, no, I wanted a white BC Rich gunslinger. But I remember in the store it was called an Outlaw. And then look at your catalog, man. It's right there. It's called the Outlaw. In fact, let's go to side cam because that's the clearer camera. Look at that. So there's the BC Rich Outlaw, right? And it looks like a gunslinger. But you know what else I noticed too that I never really noticed? Does anyone notice how extreme the angle on that pickup is right there? So it's the humbucker is one humbucker and it's kind of tilted. This one's seriously tilted. Anyways, I thought that was a cool gift. Thank you for sending it to me. And then ironically, I got to send it to BC Rich going, that's the Outlaw. That's what I was trying to tell you. There was a guitar called an Outlaw. So there it is, Outlaw. So thank you guys for that. I thought it'd be a little fun to share that with you guys. Thank you for that. And then also, it kind of worked out in my way too, because I've been trying to find something and I never thought to ask you guys. I am seriously looking for a 1989 Ibanez catalog. I don't need an original catalog, so you know. I know you can get PDFs online. Please don't send me links to PDFs. If anyone has a printed version, it doesn't have to be the original. If you just have a nice recreation printed version, I can print one out, but it just on my printer it doesn't look great. But if anyone has a nice printed out version or a 1989, only that year, 1989 Ibanez catalog, I'm looking for one for something I'm doing for a video and for a friend, and it would make the video even better instead of just using screen grabs to actually have something in print. But I'm just letting you guys know. But especially if you guys have a real one, please reach out and let me know. Or like I said, if it's a recreation of some sort, but you think the quality is really good, I'm willing to buy that as well. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. But 1989. Okay, let's move on. What are we going to do now? We're going to move on to... Just Fine says, hey, I have an old BC Rich gunslinger. It has the best neck of any guitar I've ever played. Yeah, I mean, you know, some of those older guitars, those necks were just magical. Diedrich says, if I'm saying it right, says, hey, what's going on with BC Rich guitars anyways? In Europe, they're almost extinct. Yeah, I think they're going through phases, as we know. I think right now, I don't really have a whole lot I can tell you, but I can tell you that they're working on something. You know how you hate it when some YouTuber goes, man, it's going to be really exciting. You're going to be amazed. Wait do you see what they're doing? It's going to be cool. And then it's like they came out with like, you know, red. No, they're working on something really cool. I can't tell you guys in any way. I'm already telling you too much by saying they're working on something. It's something really cool. So something very unexpected, which is why I was shocked to hear it too. So when that will happen, hopefully in months, there'll be some information eventually, but it's pretty cool. So there is something cool. So if you're a BC Rich fan, let's just say you have something very cool coming that will be, and when I mean cool, Don't don't think I'm like, oh, they're going to come out with a new color or they're going to finally make a new model. And it's not going to be an Outlaw. Anyone going to guess, think, oh, they're going to do an Outlaw. No, that's not. That's something kind of cool. But in a strong, dominant way, they're going to try to come back stronger and bigger, better than ever. So Frank says buying G&L from Fender. Yeah, that would be cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. Okay. Let's do, okay, we got one more section right here. And why am I missing? Here it is. Okay, hold on. Sometimes when I jump screens, because I try not to bog down the internet when I'm on live. Here we go. Okay, so here's a question. This came from Brian. Brian says, "Hey Phil, I recently purchased a Synergy Syn 20 IR head, and I am on the hunt for a module or two. Did you mention previously that there's someone who reviews like you like? Someone who does reviews of these that I like? Could you share that again? Do you have any of your own favorite modules?" So I don't really watch a whole lot of reviews of the Synergy modules, as there's only a few modules I'm really interested in. So the Synergy thing, obviously I'm a fan of Synergy for sure, right? I have the IR20 head and I have the 50 head. And one is really more of a practical kind of, using it for videos, and then one is just something cool. So in other words, one more practical for me. Anyways, I love the Soldano module. I almost tell you, like, if you're going to get a Synergy amp, I mean, first of all, it's a taste thing. So if you want to get like the Tone King amp or the Fender style amp, and you like cleans, then telling you to get the Soldano or the 5150 or the 60505 PV one isn't going to make sense. But me personally, of the modules that I have and the modules I've tried, I absolutely love the Soldano. I love the 6505 from PV. It totally is like having a 6505 amp, which is basically a 5150, especially old school style. The Ingle stuff's okay. I like it. It's good, but it's not something I plug in. The Friedman module is what I use absolutely the most because I like my Friedman amps, and this gives me that Friedman sound. I really like the Tone King. No, not the Tone King module. The Z-Rec by Dr. Z. I have not tried the Tone King module. And I use like the Fender Bassman or whatever. I use the two Fender modules. They're fine. There's nothing about them that I love. They just work. And that's really all it's about. For me, the module, though, that I find I go back to, definitely the Friedman module and the Soldano module, because to me, those are the two amps that I would really come back to anyways. And I could tell you that I like the Synergy Soldano module and head as much as I like my Soldano head. And I like the Soldano with the Friedman module almost as much as I like my Friedman head. So Saxby says Michael Nilsson does great reviews of the Synergy stuff. He's okay. I mean, he's kind of overrated, don't you think? I'm just kidding. No, Michael does amazing stuff. So, yeah, I had to bust the chops. I don't know if he's still here. It's only funny if he's still in the chat. But anyways, no, Michael is amazing. In fact, I was just watching some of his videos recently because I got it in my head that I had to have something. And then I watched a couple videos and sometimes I'm watching them going, okay, now I think I need more than I thought I needed. So Brian says, Phil is slowly but surely talking me into a Synergy head. What I can tell you about the Synergy stuff is it's not amazing. It's just really good. And when I say that, I don't mean to like bag on it like it's not amazing that way. I just mean like, yeah, it's not the greatest amps ever, greatest amp ever. It's just so good and so practical and so useful for so many things. And the 20 watt head is the way to go. I have the 50 watt. I'm convinced that unless you need the headroom, the volume, I don't know what's really different about the two. When I play them at the volumes I play at in this office, the 20 watt does everything I need. The 50 watt just has two modules that you can load in, which is a nice feature. But, and then Yuli says, Phil, can you do the Marshall module review? I haven't bought the Marshall module yet. I've been thinking about it. So, my problem is sometimes I look to do that stuff and I have like 4 videos I have to do now. And I'm my foot put me behind schedule. So it's like I don't want to order anything just to have it sit around. So maybe after I get caught up with some stuff, I'll be able to do it. I know one thing we're going to do is we're going to take a lot of the amp and pedal videos that I do. We're going to be putting them on the Know Your Gear channel, the secondary channel, because those are edited by someone else. And because they're edited by someone else, that's the time suck for me, is the editing. So the idea is to have a different editing vibe on that channel, which is what it has now. None of that stuff is edited by me on the second channel. That's why some of you probably notice it, some of you don't. It has a different vibe. So editing is storytelling, so you know. So it does change the vibe, even if it is clipping stuff. Oh, Yardbird says, hey, Phil, speaking of which, he goes, who is responsible for those re-edited podcast nuggets on your KYG channel? I love watching those, and I'd like to give them a shout out. Thank you, Yardbird68, for the shout out. They're edited by someone else, which is what I just said. But here's what's interesting about that. I'm not involved, okay? And when I say I'm not involved, I mean, yeah, I'll get a text, or we'll have a meeting, and we'll say, like, they'll have a question about a title. However, what we've discovered is that I need to not be involved in any way almost. And that's why I think the channel's killing on the second channel. If you haven't watched the second channel, okay, and I know it's just basically, like, a lot of it's just the clips from the podcast. And there's added, like video clips and stuff, but it's also context. In other words, sometimes they're edited in a way that, like I said, gives it more context. But the vibe is totally different. definitely the vibe's different, which was the whole point, right? Because one of the things that we're experimenting with, and it's helping for the second channel, is, and I know everybody hates the YouTuber talk, but this is interesting. I'm the voice here, but then because, like, when I do content, I'm the editing voice too, and now we're experimenting with how does it look if I don't do everything, like if everything's not how I see it. Because I can tell you right now, here's what I can tell you. There is a dozen clips of the podcast that have been edited or whatever, whatever that, added stuff, whatever, on the second channel, that 150% I would not have put on that channel. I wouldn't have put out in public, period. I wouldn't have posted it. I probably regret I said it here on the channel. So basically that's what they're doing, is they're pulling stuff. Okay, so Aaron Short Music. What's up, Aaron Short Music? He says, hey, Phil, great to see you. What does it mean if I can hear the pickup selector switch and tapping on the pick guard on a Strat? Is that a ground issue? It sounds to me like a microphonic issue. And that, a ground issue could be possible. Sure, anything's possible. But to me, usually, first of all, let's use this as an example, right? So I got this on, and you should be able to hear. Okay, literally, I'm going to mute myself. Hey, can you guys hear me okay? My microphone, you guys know, my microphone is off. I am talking to you guys through the power of guitar pickups. Technically, I don't even know what you guys are hearing now. So technically, that mess of distortion, that you hear and stuff. Here's what I can tell you. The looser the wire in the pickup, this pickup's a tragedy. So this thing should have been really microphonic. Okay. This is a horribly, horribly made pickup. It was squealing. When you guys saw me do the muting thing, I don't know if you saw me, I did the muting, and then when I muted, both hands, left and right, palmed out the guitar because this pickup would squeal. I needed all string movement to stop. Otherwise, something would go through. So it's the pickup. So the reason, what I'm telling you, Aaron, is in my experience, it's not about what it is for sure, because again, I'm not there, but is a diagnosing the problem. My first concern is something's wrong with a pickup. It's microphonic, something, maybe the wire is loose, maybe it's not wax potted, like it's a Strat and it's not wax potted, or sometimes Strats are wax potted, but it's not wax potted, something like that. So what I would do is then try to use your pickup selector to see if, I know the pickup selector is making noise. You understand what I'm trying to try to eliminate the pickups. If it's 3 pickup guitar or 2 pickup guitar, try to eliminate one of the pickups and see if that's not the issue more than anything else. And so, especially if it's, and it doesn't matter if it's an expensive guitar. Look, pickups are made like what I'm trying to say. They're made like they're still made in the 50s, right? So the technology of pickups is still pretty not amazing. So there's mistakes, and it's not something that they're going to be testing for when they're building the guitar, right? Usually, look, when you go to factories, it's always the same thing. They have the guitar on, they take the selector. I'm not going to put you guys through the horror of talking through the pickup again, but if you could see me, I'm taking a pin, which makes no sense, but imagine a screwdriver in my hand, and they just tap on the coils, right? That's what they're doing in the factory. If you watch a lot of factory tours, they tap on the coils, and then they make sure there's sound coming through, but they don't really test to see if the pickup's being microphonic. John 1-4 is saying shielding tape. Sure, shielding helps. All that stuff helps. But, and you're right, John. Like I said, everything, you could do 10 things, and those 10 things collectively will fix the problem. But usually the pickup is a pretty easy thing to you want to eliminate right away. Just like a tube amp, microphonic tube. Let's eliminate the easiest thing first, and then figure out where it's going to get more complicated. And Aaron said, thank you. I'll make a video and send it over to the builder. Otherwise, I love the guitar, so I want to fix it. Sure. By the way, Aaron, you can send it to me as well. If you send it to the Ask Know Your Gear at gmail.com, send it to me, and I can watch whatever you do and send you a quick response. And then if you have my text, you can text me. If you don't have my text, you can just send me your number and I'll text you back. That's how it works. Let's see. Jada says, except for Fishmans. Yes, Fishmans, of course. Well, first of all, Fishmans are, in theory, like a perfect pickup, right? I can almost hear some of my friends who are into vintage pickups cringing right now. But what I mean by that is that I'm totally in love with the Fishman pickups concept. The laminating, the way that they can actually make a pickup for every artist individually just by doing the different laminates up. And yeah, I've messed with lots of Fishmans, as like I told you guys, they're fantastic. There's no such thing as perfect, especially in an artistic world where sometimes flaws are beautiful. I want some mess in the world when it comes to the artistic things I love. But the Fishmans are fantastic. So, Just Fine says, hey, Phil, what's the purple guitar in the corner? It's the Jet guitar. I'm doing another Jet guitar video. You guys love the Jet guitar I did that was the affordable. This one's a little bit more of the pricey ones. I love hitting these guitars that you guys will not stop talking about. These are the guitars that never get on my radar. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I don't see this stuff, but I didn't see them forever. And then what's great about when I do a unknown brand, you guys always take the lead and say, hey, have you checked out this other brand that's like them? And so when I did artist guitars, you guys really, really kind of talked up Jet. Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling backwards. We're going to button this show up. We got trick-or-treating to do. You know, what's funny is let's go back to this one. Let me try another one. And I have more here. This came from Luis. Says, hey, Phil, I know you've seen a lot of the factories and you've been to a bunch of factories. I'm curious if you've ever been to the Fender Japan facilities. Come to think of it, does Fender Japan contract out their guitar manufacturing, or do they have their own facilities? So I believe I understand, again, this is my guess, but I think I'm right, is that Fender doesn't actually have a factory in Japan, that it's outsourced to like Fujigen or some factory in Japan. That's what I think is happening. As far as I know, Fender has two factories, one in California, one in Mexico, in Ensenada. Those are two factories. And when I say they have, hold on, I gotta sneeze. Wow, I'm glad I have a mute button for sneezing. So anyways, they have two factories. And when I say they have two factories, I mean that those employees receive a check that says FMIC, or they have the company Fender paying them. Obviously, Fender has a facility. They have a building, a factory in the Quartet Tech compound. There's a Squire building and a Fender building. You know, we weren't allowed to share those buildings with you guys because we didn't have their permission, which is fine. But I can tell you right now, I can tell you they're there. There is a Squire building and a Fender building. They are separate. So they are same, but different. But same, but different. Anyways, got jokes. But those employees are paid by Core Tech. So that's how I'm defining that. I'm not saying, I'm saying in Japan, I would imagine if they do have a facility, even if it's like Core Tech where it's a factory only making Fender product, which is very likely because they do that much volume, I would not imagine they're actually Fender employees. They're probably subcontracted like Court is. And so they might be isolated to them, but it's not their physical building, their physical property, their physical employees. So that's the answer to that question. I would love to go. After Core, the whole plan was to get to Core Tech because Core Tech's the largest guitar manufacturer in the world, and no one's really ever seen it in the way that I've showed it to you guys. You know, it's usually like some fast pass kind of filming. And the hopes was after doing that, it would open some doors, physically open some doors to other companies saying, hey, maybe we should have you come and do a factory video. And especially those factory videos, because it's like I want to approach every factory differently. If you notice, the Kiesel factory video is amazing in my opinion because it's one entire shot with no edits. There is not a single second edited in that video once it starts. Once me and Jeff enter into the building, right? There's an edit at the beginning, me telling you about it, and then it goes right to the cut. What's that movie, 1921 or something, 1911, whatever the hell that movie is, and it says it was all done in one cut. And I understand now, I guess it wasn't, but that's the whole push. It was one seamless film. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that again, like the Kiesel Factory Tour. It's not just that Jeff let it happen, which is already super rare. It's that, thank you, 1917, which is an amazing movie, by the way. It's not that Jeff just let it happen, which is rare. It's that we just didn't do anything that would have been a problematic to show anyways, right? And so doing a one-shot factory tour was different. The way I did the SE factory tour as like a vlog style, I thought that was different. And the way I did the Cortec video as a factory tour, I thought was different. And that's what our plan going forward is, to do these, but not do these traditional, boring, stand there while they tell us, and then this machine makes necks, and then this machine, then this plex, and this machine, right? We want to actually go there and learn something and give you something back. I want to give you something back, and I want to answer one question in every factory tour, and that's my plan going forward. And the Kiesel factory, I just want to answer one question: how do they make all those different custom variations? And I think we answered that question. The Cortec factory, I wanted to know, how do you make 1 million guitars in a year? How do you physically do that? And I think we answered that question. So I got to tell you, I can't ruin it yet because I'll jinx it, but we did get a reach out from a company that I never thought would ever let me do a factory tour. And they flat out said, hey, we want to do a factory tour. I'm getting ready to talk to them. So that will be exciting. It will be great, especially for me, because it's not 36 hours of travel to do it. Plus, I think it'll be one of those cool things, and it's something that not a lot of people have seen a lot of. And so that'll be cool. And so back to Japan, which is important. I'd really like to do some factory tours in Japan. And I think if we do that, logically and financially, because that's a big part of it too, we're going to have to line up 2 or 3. So it's got to be 2 or 3 factories in Japan to make it make sense, because you fly there, maybe stay 3-4 days, and then go through them. Everybody's like, PRS Gibson, no, don't try to guess. And even don't guess, because you won't guess. And if you did get it right, I wouldn't tell you, and then you'd be mad later when you said, that's the one I said, and you said no. So anyways, I would love to go to the Japanese factories. That's the big deal, of course. And you got to understand, the big problem with these factories, kind of like Fujigen in Japan, all these factories is they make multiple products. So again, it's not as easy as when you go to PRS and you say, hey, I want to film your factory, and they go, okay, film it. And then it's, these factories, it's okay, film it, but we can't show this, and we can't talk about that, and we can't see this. And then also, why even film it? So think about this. I could not answer one question I had in my head, and I thought I would give you the answer, and I never did. I could never answer the question, why Cortec let me film the Cortec factory. I'm glad they did. June and Cortec have been fantastic and sent me very amazing, heartfelt thank yous about the video and loving the video. And they love the video. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it to you guys because I love you guys, apparently. They were very nervous about me. Even the day I was there, they were nervous. They told me and it came across. They don't know why they're doing this and they don't know what the upside is for them, but they're letting it happen. Let's let them film everything and see what comes out. And the important part of the story is I still don't know why they did it because there's no upside to them other than you going, oh, we love Court now. But you're like, great, but but I think they know you love them because they make 1 million guitars a year. They're not trying to make more guitars, is what I'm trying to say. Let's go on to another one, and then let's button this podcast up. We have, this one's a fast one, so it's easy. Antique Rocker says, hey, I'm thinking about buying an Ebow, and I want to learn how to play one. I'm not laughing at you learning to play one. I'm laughing about what I'm going to say. I want to learn how to play Bowie's Heroes like Mick Ronson. Okay, so he's talking about the song Bowie's Heroes. Playing it like Mick Ronson. Mick Ronson, sorry. I see the memorial concert for Freddie Mercury. Have you tried one? Would you consider reviewing? I have tried theirs, and TC Electronics has a version 2 as well. I shouldn't say 2, but as well. And I could not do it. The hell of Ebow is you go to the NAMM show and the owner of Ebow demonstrates it, and it's just ridiculously good when he's skipping around. Me, the Ebow was the most tragic. I've bought the Ebow twice. Okay, I bought it. I couldn't use it. I was an idiot. It was horrible. I got rid of it, and then I bought it again years later, thinking, well, now I'm better. Nope, I figured it out. It's not me. Yuli goes, what's an Ebow? An Ebow, let me show you what this is. They're usually about $100. They've been $100 since the 90s. I love that I put Ebow and my computer says eBay. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, you cannot. This is so crazy. Okay, this is the Ebow. It's $99. Just for the record, this was $99 in 1992. I know for a fact they were $99. They've been, I don't know for a fact, but they've been that way forever. This is it. So what we're looking at, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like a stapler, right? It's kind of silly looking. So this device has 2 magnets. So let me explain it in the most dumb way I can explain something because I don't, but just rudimentary. Let's just call it that, rudimentary. I wish they'd show you the bottom. I don't show you the bottom. So let's do it this way. So right here, what I'm pointing at right here is these are 2 slots. You see those little bumps right there? That's where 2 strings go. So you rest it on, let's say like your A and your G string. You rest the A and the G string here, A string here, G string here, or vice versa, probably vice versa. And then in the middle of this spot, you would have your D string. And then these 2 magnets, which are, I'm assuming, different polarities or something. And it might be electric magnets. Is that what it is? It's got to be electric. Does that make sense, right? They cause the string to move to simulate what a bow would do, like a bow, like for a violin on a guitar. And so you can get that sound. And when you see people do it, they just like a violin bow. They go, and you're like, oh, cool. When you get it, it's like this. You set it on a string and it goes, ooh, and then you lift it off and then you put it back and it does nothing for a second. It goes, ooh. And that's it. Now, for those that can figure it out and play it, I've seen people play it. They're great at it. So, $99. Should you get one? Sure. Could you do worse things? You can buy one used. There's always somebody getting rid of one. Because there's always one for sale used, so you can always do used. There is copies on the market. I think there are so you might want to look at like Ebow copy. When I say copy, like brands, right? There's like brands that copy it. Joyo makes one. Figures. Okay, so what's the Joyo one? Ebow. Joyo. On Amazon. Oh, okay. So here you go. Let's look at here. We're looking here. $62. It looks like a Black & Decker Dustbuster. I feel like this thing is giving me trauma. I'm looking at this thing. It's reminding me when I would sit on the couch and my mom would come around the corner with a dustbuster and be like, "We're gonna clean up the whatever the cat hair." So, anyways, $62.99 for this one. So you can get that on Amazon, and Amazon's return policy is really great. Let's face it, that's kind of why they're winning in that category. So, and then so he said, Jaded Jerome saying Donner. Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of one. And if the Donner one's cheaper, go with the cheap. I would go with the cheapest one. I would definitely say that there's no one single one of those units that are significantly better than the others to where if you can't get along with it, it's the product's fault. It's just one of those things. So if you want to give it a try, you try it. Whatever it is. Me personally, somebody said a Sustainiac pickup. I absolutely love Sustainiac pickup. I have a video of that. Like, how does the Sustainiac pickup work? Absolutely. So if you can get yourself a guitar, a used one with Sustainiac pickup in it, man, it's way, way better. But that's a lot to ask just to do a song. I know what you're talking about. So, but give it a try. I didn't have luck. Maybe I feel bad because now I'm like discouraging you. I want you to understand something. Your first inkling, and I don't know you because I don't know you. Maybe you're a way better guitar player than me, and you're like, this is easy. I'm going to do it. Phil's a moron. But just in case you're looking at me and going, oh, Phil's a better guitar player than me, and if he can't do it, I can't do it. I'm a moron. When it comes to that thing, I want to tell you that I put some effort into it, but I put in soft effort is what I'm trying to say. I did it, and then I was like, this isn't working, and then I'm like, I'm done. So let's just say it didn't get my full-hearted try. I thought I was one of those things where if it could, you know what? Somebody just said, Date to Win says Wawa's coming in and out of fashion. Hold on a second. You know what he meant? Just you mentioning Wawa's. I gotta tell you, the Ebow reminds me. It reminds me why the Ebow was a failure to me. Because I expected it to be like a wah-wah pedal. Like, I don't know about you guys. Everybody's different. Everybody has different life experiences with gear. But the wah-wah was a thing that when the first time I tried a wah-wah pedal, I was like, I'm Kirk Hammett. Like, there was no moment where I was like, how do people do this? I don't understand. You got to go backward, then forward. What is going on? I got a wah. I stepped on it, and I'm like, holy crap. I am literally Jimi Hendrix. I am Kirk Hammett. I am, right? I'm doing funk. I'm there. It's easy. It was, if anything, not only was it easy, it made everything I play sound better than it was. And so it was great. And so part of the problem I find when you have an experience like that with certain pieces of gear, like a wah pedal, is then you buy an Ebow and you have the exact opposite experience where it's like, oh, you mean I got to learn some technique for this? Right? But I think you should try it. Look, there's worse things you can do with your money than buy one of these things for $50 to $100. And I'm sure if you look around, you'll find somebody who makes one for $50, without a doubt. And I'm sure, and somebody's going to put in the comments telling you where you get one. So for $50, give it a try. But I can tell you, if you really, really, really want to do like a sustain like that, the Sustainiac pickups in a guitar are by far better, in my opinion, because although those, I didn't have a huge amount of success with needing them all the time. I can tell you the first time I picked up a Sustainiac pickup in a guitar, it was like the wah pedal again. I'm like, whoa, look at me. I'm like Pink Floyd now. Like, I can do stuff. Like, right? I was making sounds and music was coming out of me and it was great. So I'm just going to tell you, so it's all about the, and by the way, more 10 guitar says AliExpress has one for $35. Yeah, I have no doubt you can find stuff like, look, we all know there's stuff out there now. There's a cheaper version of everything that you can buy everything for a nickel if you keep trying. And you find where you're comfortable spending to try the endeavor and you do it. So I will tell you though, one thing I can think of is if you can buy an Ebow used, you could probably sell it for exactly what you paid for it. So, okay. Mr. Ortiz says, What's my favorite? Oh, because it's Halloween. I get it. What's my favorite candy? And what is my least favorite candy? He goes, let's start a controversy like gravy, part 3. My favorite candy. I don't like candy. I know, it sounds suspect for a fat guy to tell you he doesn't like candy, right? You're like, something's up. I don't like candy. I like chocolate. Now, if you think chocolate's candy, well, I think you're wrong. I think there's chocolate candy. I think that's why they use it. Like, I don't tell people I want to get me a candy. Well, I guess you get a candy bar. That's chocolate, right? I don't know. But here's what I'm saying. I really don't eat candy. Now, when I say that, there's some caveats. I'm not a big I've never been into that. I like chocolate, like everybody else. And I do like licorice sometimes in some ways. Okay. Which is probably a candy as well. But outright, when you think of candies, all the candy stuff, I'm not really big on it. So the follow-up question he had was, what is my favorite candy in the Sweetwater? I do not get candy with my Sweetwater products. I have it blocked. So you can contact Sweetwater, which I did many, many years ago. I don't know if it was by email or calling them. And I said, please don't put candy in my box anymore, in my packaging. Now, what's funny is it actually worked out in the greatest way you could ever happen, which is, so Shauna's favorite candy from Sweetwater is Laffy Taffy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, you don't get candy in your Sweetwater packaging, so how does your wife like Laffy Taffy Sweetwater candy? It's because I have it blocked on my account. When I order stuff from Sweetwater, I get a box and there's no candy in it. But however, as you guys know, Sweetwater sometimes sponsors content with us, and they'll send us products to do videos. And they send us products and it doesn't go on my direct account. It goes like a sideways account, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they call it. So they put it on a different account. And so when it shows up, it has candy in it because it doesn't have the notation to not put candy in my box. So Shauna eats the Laffy Taffy and the bit of honeys from Sweetwater. That's what she likes. Me, I hate all that stuff. I don't know what it is. As a kid, I ate it like every kid, but it's just over time. Like I said, I like chocolate like a lot. I mostly like dark chocolate now, a lot. And like I said, the only candy I can think of that I actually can eat, or not actually want to eat, is licorice. So there's no controversy. Well, other than I just called chocolate not a candy. Maybe that will get. Average Joe said the bone shredder sold out. Well, good. Good for Firefly. They'll order more. You'll get more. I don't know how, we're going to end on this. I don't know how Firefly is not getting cease and desist like hell on these guitars. What I love is, I think this is, what I like about Firefly guitars is they're basically AliExpress. They're selling us the knockoff guitars, but they're doing them like with the roasted necks and the quality's a little better, right? And they're not putting the ESP logo. They're just putting Firefly on there. And so I feel like, look, to me, I call this a replica guitar. I have no problem. I've told you guys before. Everybody can argue to death on this, but I'm going to end on this point. I like replica guitars and I hate fake guitars. To me, the difference is as simple as what I just said. If somebody looked at this, they're like, oh, that's a replica of like the George Lynch ESP or the J Frog guitar. And I go, yeah, it's a replica. It's not one. It does. It's not one. And if you can read, because it says Firefly on it, right? Which implies that it's not a ESP or a J Frog. However, if it did say ESP or J Frog, then I would call that a fake. So it's meant to make you think that it's the thing it's not. So I like replica stuff. So that's how I differentiate that. If that's not legally correct, it's not legally correct, but it's at least how I look at it. And the reason I say that is because, sure, can a replica, can you trick somebody with a replica? Yeah, you can. But to me, it's why I don't get too caught, to me, it's too caught up in the weeds with I don't get upset when the Dodge truck and the GMC truck and the Chevy and the Ford trucks all start looking the same on the freeway. I don't go, oh, this is ridiculous. They should sue each other into oblivion because they're so close to each other. I go, yeah, you know how I know that's a Dodge? Because it says Dodge on it. Actually, it says Ram. You know how I know it's a Dodge? Because it says Ram. You know how I know how I know it's a Ford? It says Ford on it. That's the whole point of putting a word on a thing, right? And naming it. so that when people see it, they go, what is that truck? It says it's a Chevy. Well, it's a Chevy. So it's a Ford? No, it's a Chevy. See how it says Chevy? That means it's a Chevy. So again, I find it's, I don't like the fakes, but I like replicas. That's just my opinion on that. And on that note, you guys got to go get free candy. Some of you guys do, or give out free candy. Today, either somebody's giving away something or getting some. Either way, I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys have fun. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Play some guitar. Thank you guys so much for making another amazing episode. Thank you so much for 2 million views. Thank you so much for making the second channel, killing it. It's awesome. And I'm going to leave on that note. I think that's the high note. Let's go. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. To the next time, know your gear. And then I'm like, where's my... Oh. If you're learning something or having a good time, don't forget you can subscribe for free and help this channel. Or for $10 a month, you can join me on Patreon for live clinics where